Look at this snake. I can't tell if we, like, someone squished it or what. I can't tell if it got, like, ran over or if it's...
It looks like it, doesn't it? Like the head area.
I mean, it's still alive. Oh, that's... Huh? Kind of want to poke it with a stick and see if it bites. Hey, good morning, guys. So we are on our way to the Chengwatana ATV Trail. It's just outside of Pine City, Minnesota. So hopefully I'm saying that right. Chengwatana, C-H-E-N-G Watana. I still think the J might be silent. Okay, so we shot this video when we were doing a trail review, and we thought we'd just put together a vlog like we often do. For this specific trail review, we were actually only out on this trail for a few hours. We've been there many times, so it really, you know, we're already pretty familiar with the trail. But it's only about an hour and a half from the city, so if you live within an hour and a half of Pine City, even 2 hours, it's definitely worth checking out. If you live further than that, it's questionable. If you're just looking to get somewhere new, it is a lot of fun, but it's only like 16 miles, so it's definitely not somewhere you're gonna spend, you know, your entire day or weekend. As you can see, this is coming right off the trailhead here. It's a lot of just puddles and hard-packed gravel and dirt. It had rained a few days prior, so that would explain part of the wetness, but there are some spots that actually just kind of seem to generally hold water in this area. This is the upper section of the main trail that we're kind of zooming down here. You'll see in a minute it just kind of ends, and then you turn around and you take a fork in the road, a different route. So for example, here we go. So here's the end of this part of the trail. It would continue on if it was wintertime and you had a snowmobile. That's why that's actually blocked off. You could go that way in the winter on a snowmobile. This trail, speaking of which, it is open in the wintertime. So if you're in the area, you can still ride your four-wheelers here in the winter. It's just generally used for snowmobiles during the winter months in Minnesota. So here we went ahead and turned around. I sped through all that because there wasn't a lot going on. It's just a straight shot out, a few miles out, and then a few miles back. So there really wasn't too much to see other than what you're watching at like 250% speed here. In a second, we'll get to a fork where we round it and we go down to what I consider the better part of the trail. So here we go. So we came back most of the way, and now we take this fork to the right. It's hard to tell from the video, but we're actually going downhill at a pretty good speed. And this is where I really think this trail gets better. So you can see there's a little bridge there we're going through and some water. Take it at a slower pace because there's more rocks and all that, so we're just kind of creeping along more. Nothing super technical though, so you know, if you're not great at riding, no sweat. So this is where we start to get to some more of the puddles, and I was using the Honda 200 for this, so I'm sorry, the Honda 400, which is two-wheel drive. So there were spots I got a little more concerned, but even these puddles, they were pretty hard packed. There wasn't a whole lot of mud along this trail. I mean, our ATVs were still pretty clean by the time we were done. But it's definitely a beautiful area to ride. Like I said, even this is a lot of this hard packed. Oh, this bridge was cool. It's actually donated to someone in their memory. That was kind of a cool bridge to go across. So here we start to hit some more of the bigger puddles. Again, they're longer, but it was still pretty hard packed, so it blew right through them without any issues. They are fun though, especially because you could take these at some pretty good speed with that, especially with how hard packed they are, and you could just shoot through that and blow water everywhere. So as you can see from that, not too deep, but still fun to go through. And again, this is great if you're not super technical rider. These puddles are great for you because, you know, they're not too hard, so if you're inexperienced, you shouldn't generally still have too much of an issue getting through them. This is one of the bigger ones here. And I think if I turn around, yeah, so it started to get a little shady there, so I told her to go on a four-wheel drive right there. But I managed to get through it. It really wasn't that big of a deal. It sunk down more, so I thought it was gonna get worse, but as you can see from that, you know, the up and down of the four-wheeler, it's still actually kind of riding on rocks a lot of the time. And I was checking the air box. This Honda has no air box. It's just a direct right from the filter. There's only a little screen on there, so I just wanted to make sure that it sits pretty low, so I wanted to make sure that I really wasn't getting it too close to the water. Definitely hate to flood it from going through a puddle. So as we continue to ride here, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, we had a good day. The cool thing here too is there's a gun range down here, so you can ride around down here and then bring your bring a couple firearms or whatever, throw them in the back of an ATV, or even park at the other trailhead. I'll link a video, or I'll put a link in the description and kind of put it in this video here, so you can watch the actual trail review where I talk about the trail specifics and trailheads and all that. Definitely feel free to check that out. Like I said, this is just more of kind of a raw vlog, just kind of talking about the trip itself. Trying a new thing with voicing over and showing my face and kind of talking about the actual trip. Okay, so here we came up on some guys that they were just working on getting their buddy out. This is probably one of the bigger puddles and muddy areas on the trail right here that day. We rolled up and they were literally just pulling them out.
You guys all right? Yeah, we got it all. All right. Did you get stuck? Oh no, I'm screwed.
So as you can see, it's a little muddy. The Razor still made it through. I gave it a little more speed and stayed to the left, and still, I mean, I'm honestly not sure how I got stuck. I think he was more off to the right from the angle we were coming at it, and I think it sunk down a little more over there because it really, again, Honda two-wheel drive, and he had a four-wheel drive ATV, So these water holes, I mean, it was great because it's literally a lot of times like one after the other. So they're not, again, overly technical like I keep saying, but they're fun. Just water hole after water hole after water hole. It definitely gets to be fun, especially as you start to increase in speed and really splash through them. So this lower portion too, it's half out and back and half circle. So what I mean is, it does end up being a circle, but when you complete the circle, you still end up back on the same trail before that fork where you come back up. So this is where you come back up. So you do end up on the same trail eventually for a while. And you can't tell here again, but this is pretty it's relatively a good sized hill with a bunch of rocks there. And from here, we decided to hit. There's another section of the trail which is a lot more rocky, so we took that for a while. This was really slow going. This is not huge rocks, but so consistent in the way they were that you just couldn't take it at a fast speed. It was definitely a low crawl. It was a lot of fun. Good practice on just dealing with rocks and all that, and just kind of good riding. In fact, this is I think right about here. Yeah, so the Honda 400, the tires on it, you'll notice, aren't real big. You can probably get a good shot at them here when I get off, but I thankfully have a good skid plate because I totally went right over the center of a rock and just launched, got the four-wheeler stuck right on there. So another great thing, if you've never ridden a quad like this, a two-wheel drive Honda 400 like this, they're super light. So anytime you get stuck or you need to move it, you can just push it or lift it up and basically manipulate it however you want. They're super light, so benefit of not having four-wheel drive and all that extra stuff on a race machine like this is they're so much lighter and easier to move. So we took this for a while, and then right around here is where we kind of, again, we're back at the main trailhead, and then we took yet another trail that spawned off from the left of the main trailhead, and we took that for a while. It was mainly just like this the whole way. There was one or two good mud spots, but it was a lot like the initial trail we saw at the beginning of the video. This, however, is where I managed to get stuck. I think it was actually right about here, if I remember. Yeah, so right here, I got stuck in there pretty good in a mud hole. And again, it wasn't high. If you had a four-wheel drive machine, or if I would have even taken it more to the other side, it would have been fine. I just managed to hit a spot where I went in and just sunk right down, and it just couldn't get out with the 2 wheels on the back. Almost. But I eventually had to get out and lift her up and move those back tires. And that's what I was referring to earlier. Again, if you've never ridden a machine like that, it's great in that sense. So when you get stuck, you just pick her up and move her over. I got a little wet from that one. All right, so just like that, we're back in action. That was pretty much it. So after that, we head back towards the main trail and packed up and left. You can definitely spend a while out there, just have a good time. All right, we'll go ahead and check in with what I'm saying here. So we are back, loading up the 4-wheelers, gonna head out of here pretty soon. Overall, awesome day. I know I mentioned it's like 16 miles. Do you know how many miles we went on the actual? Did you look at
like 16.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, so we only went about 16, but we didn't actually even cover all the trails. There was like 2 that we flat out skipped, so maybe it is 16 miles, but you kind of, the way it doubles back and all that, you don't really feel like you're on the same trail multiple times, but you end up looping back to the main trail, if you will. So if it is 16 miles, it definitely, you can get some good time out of it, and it feels like there's a lot of trail out here to cover. So otherwise, that's all we got. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. I'm gonna go. Have you guys heard of the For Real milkshakes? I'm gonna go get one. I've never heard of one. We saw them on the way up, and I'm super excited. I think I deserve it.
You deserve it.
See, I deserve it. So we're gonna get some milkshakes and head home and get cleaned up.